Well, hello, welcome to our reading of the selections from Iliad Book 2, and I'll continue on. I finished off at line 369. And so I've just had a fairly strong speech from Nestor, and now Agamemnon's going to give an equally strong reply. So, Lord Agamemnon, we've seen this before many times, Crayon, ruling, or Lord Agamemnon answering him said, Amen out, surely, I think out is again, so once again, surely you have prevailed against the sons of the Achaeans. Literally, you have had victory over the sons of the Achaeans, old man, in the assembly. Agar, would that, O Father Zeus and Athena and Apollo, would that there were 10 such sumphradmones. This is from sumphradone is the noun. It means counsellor, and it's only here in Homer, I think, and it's fairly rare otherwise. So would that there were 10 such counsellors for me among the Achaeans, and therefore the city of Lord Priam, soon, I think here, now the verb here is amuo, which means to sink, bow down, so sink. So the city of Lord Priam would quickly sink, or would soon sink, under our hands, having been taken. That's a aorist participle from the hal root, which you get from haliskamai and from the parts of the verb hyreo, taken from haliskamai. So having been taken and having been sacked from Pertho. But the aegis-bearing Zeus, son of Kronos, gave woes to me. So instead of giving me good counsellors, he's given me grief. So just line this up here. So who has cast, and the meta undoubtedly goes with the bellow, who's cast among me, put among me, apractus, useless strifes and quarrels. This is from Eris and Nakos, third declension. And apractos, of course, is from alpha privative plus the prasso root. So strifes and quarrels which achieve nothing. And this one, of course, just goes with the eridas, this being a neuter plural. Kaigar egon Achilles, for I and Achilles, we have fought concerning a girl, and Tibios epeesin, with hostile words. But I began it, Calipainon, having become angry. So I was the one who firstly became angry. But if Poti, well, perhaps one day, you'll use some in future, literally, we will deliberate. In fact, as mian, now it's feminine, so probably supply boule or boulain or something here. So if we ever shall be at one in our deliberations, so if ever we will we'll deliberate in one council, so if we will be at one in our deliberations, uket, no longer then, esetai, will there be an anablasis, a postponement. Anabello can have the sense of to postpone something, so this is the abstract noun. There will no longer then be a postponement of evil for the Trojans. Ud abion, not in the least. not even a little bit. So this is a stock phrase in Homer, so not in the least. But now we get an imperative. Go off to supper, in order that sun Agamemnon Araya, so we might gather together for war. So this is a hortator. This is a subjunctive. In order that we might gather together for war. So he's saying, go and have something to eat, because we're about to resume the war. We get this lovely series of you men, you dare, or you men tis, you dare tis, you dare tis. So let one of you, this is an imperative. It's a middle, I think, aorist middle imperative, from thago, to sharpen. So let one of you sharpen well his doru, literally his wood, but it means his spear. And let one of you thesto, make ready, this is from tithami, to make ready or prepare, his shield. And let one of you give, from didomi, dapnon, supper or dinner or food, to the swift-footed horses. To the swift-footed horses. And let one of you, now idon amphis hamatos. The amphis sort of goes, it's perhaps adverbial, but it sort of goes with the amphis here. It's to take thought for. So literally having looked at the things around the chariot. So in other words, taking thought for take thought for his chariot. Having done that, let him be mindful of war. This is from medamai, to be mindful of, third person singular imperative. So if someone, let someone, having taken thought for his chariot, let him be mindful of war. And thus, pan ameroi, thus for the all day long. Now this verb here is odd, and you have to really look at the commentaries on this one. It's from krino, in the middle, but it has the sense of to measure our strength against hateful war, hateful Aries. I'm told the verb has the sense of to be separated, that is, to separate the strong from the weak. Some translate this as contend. So thus, all day long we will contend, perhaps measure our strength with hateful war. Uga pausole gemetesetai. So met ami is to come in between, so to intervene. Pausole is a verb, the meaning of it's pretty clear from the root here, of power, of ceasing or checking. And this not only occurs here. So for something like there will not intervene any rest or ceasing. Udi abayon, not even a little bit, not in the least. Ame, except night having come, diakrinee, this is a future here, will part the strength of men. So we'll separate off the strength of men, so we'll part the strength of men. Hydrose men tu telemone amphiste des fin. This is an old, it's a double dative really, it's stay thesi, and then they've got the fin ending as well, which is an old dative ending. You see the similar ending, this phi becomes it's a BH in Sanskrit, you get a similar ending there with the dative. So hydrose, the subject is telemone, and the telemone is like the baldric. It's the insignia on the shield. So the baldric, and we get tu for tinos, I think, so it's a genitive rather than you. So the baldric of someone will be covered in sweat. The baldric around the breast, which is of the shield, amphibrotes, which covers the entire body. So funny word here. So something like wet with sweat about the breast will be the baldric of the shield of someone. So some man's shield. And about the spear, he will grow weary, kara, in respect of his hand. So his hand, we would say his hand will become weary, but it's this tinos from out of here. This person will become tired, become weary from kamno, around the shield in respect of his hand. And we get the same hedrose, so this is the person this is going to happen to, and now the horse, tu of someone, tu for tinos, and the horse of someone will also be sweaty, as it titine, this is strain, so as it, titine is to stretch, but can also mean to strain, as it strains the well-polished Hama chariot. So we get this nice duality here between the person to the baldric of someone who will be covered in sweat around his breast, the baldric of his shield which covers his body, and he will be weary around in respect of his hand, around his ankos, around his spear. And similarly, the horse of someone will be covered in sweat as it strains at the well-polished chariot. But now hon with ken plus the subjunctive, well, we get a subjunctive up here. So whomever I might spy outside of the battle, or perhaps wishing, yeah, that's right, outside of the battle, wishing Mimnasdane, this is just another form of Meno, or connected with Meno, so wishing to remain beside the curved ships, Uhoi epeta, not for him thereafter, Esetai, will there be an archeon. Now an archeon is something one can rely on, and hence I'll just translate it as hope. So there will be no hope for him, fuggein, to avoid, to escape from fugo, the dogs and the birds. In other words, he'll be killed and the dogs and the birds will eat him. So whomever I might spy outside of the battle, wishing to remain beside the curved ships, there will not be any hope for him thereafter to escape from the dogs and the birds. So pretty strong speech from Agamemnon. Hosephard, and thus he spoke, and the Argives, this is from that Iako, they yelled out mega greatly, it's the same expression we had earlier, as when a wave, as when there is a wave on the high Acte shore, when the Notos, the south wind having come, might move it, that's the wave, against the jutting crag. So it's from pro and bellow, the thing which juts out, and a scopolos is a crag, a jutting crag. And this next bit's a little bit tricky, I think, here. So which, now let me just read this. Adu poti kumata lepe panto and anemone, hotan enth entha genontai. Which, yeah, so I think notos is the subject of the lepe. So will, so jutting crag that is not left by the waves of all the winds. I see, yeah, sorry, that, I think that scopula, that ton is going with the jutting crag. So which the never will the waves, which are stirred up by all sorts of winds, will leave alone. So this crag, in other words, is constantly beaten by waves. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit difficult with that bit there. So the jutting crag, and I think that's a relative here, which is never left, or which the waves never leave, the waves that are come from all sorts of winds. When they might come, entha, from here or from there. So when, it's almost whenever they might come from here or from there. Unstantes, so for ana, from anahistemi, so getting up, so this is referring now to all the Greeks. So arising, orionto, possibly it's an imperfect from oreamai, is maybe the verb here, I think, which is an equivalent to ornumi. So standing up, they arose, or they set forth, having been scattered, this is ketanumi for skedonumi, having been scattered about the ships, kapnisan, and they lit a fire beside the tents, kaidepnon helonto, and they took their supper. Alos de allo, eres de theon I a genetaon. So one to one and another to another of the immortal gods. So one Eresda made sacrifice. So so one person made sacrifice to the immortal gods, and another made a sacrifice to another one. Is the sense of the line here. It's slightly cryptic. Alos, we often get this alos and allo. So one to one and another to another made sacrifice for or to the gods who live forever, praying that they might few gain escape death and the molon, the tumult of battle. This only ever is used with Ares. The tumult of war, the tumult of Ares, tumult of battle. But Agamemnon, lord of men, sacrificed, aorist here, an aboon, an ox, a fat one, 4 years old, to very strong son of Kronos, Kykles, and he invited or called out to the Gerontas. It's hard to describe them as old men. It's more the best, the elder statesman might be best, the best men amongst all the Achaeans. So the elder statesman, the best ones among all the Achaeans, First of all, Nestor and Lord Idomeneus. And just get this aligned here. But afterwards, the two Ajaxes and the son of Tydeus. And as sixth, again, Odysseus, who was equal to Zeus in council. And Menelaus, good at the war cry, Automatos, of his own volition, sort of self-invited, he came to him. For he knew in his heart his brother, or he knew in his heart that, he knew his brother in his heart that he was toiling. So he knew in his heart about his brother that he was toiling, that he was working hard, and they stood around the ox and Helontai. They took up from Anhirio the ulakutas, this is the barley grains, and Lord Agamemnon addressed to them praying in prayer. And we shall hold what his prayer is to the next section.